Hello, I'm Alex Mansfield with Manny Things, and welcome to another episode of Manny Talks Shooting, the show where I talk to individuals all across the shooting industry. We'll talk competition, self-defense, concealed carry. If you enjoy this content, check out our YouTube channel, Manny Things. Without further ado, let's get to this episode. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Manny Talks Shooting, the show where I talk to whoever I want to in the industry. Today, I am honored to sit down with my friend Kenzie, or Three Gun Kenzie, you might know her as a awesome social media expert. Kenzie, how are you doing today, sir?
Sir, ma'am. Okay, funny you said that because my first match that I worked, someone was like, Mr. Fitzpatrick, you're gonna be on this day. And everybody was like, well, you do have bigger balls than most guys. It's like, great. No, I accept, sir.
I do apologize. You're like the first solo lady I've had on the show. So thank you for coming on, though.
Oh, absolutely. That cracked me up. That made my day.
And it's only today.
Only started. Here we go.
Yep. Well, everybody, you might not know Kenzie, but she runs social media. She has her own marketing company and does a lot throughout the gun industry. So Kenzie, can you want to explain who you are a little bit to the guests, and then how did you get into shooting?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Who am I? I don't know. My background is definitely in marketing. I got my master's in marketing, and then I started my business straight out of that degree into college. Love it. So I've been working for myself. I'm also a firearms industry writer, and I work a lot in entrepreneurship. People don't know that about me, but I work for a nonprofit and help people start businesses and chase their dreams. So that's pretty cool. Shooting. So I grew up duck hunting with my grandpa, my dad. So that was one side of the family in Louisiana. We'd go out duck hunting. The other side of the family, so the other grandpa, we'd go out to a property. And I remember my first shots with a revolver and with pistols were at the cans on a tree limb, like, you know, most people out there in redneck Alabama. So I learned to shoot pretty young as a kid. And then there was just kind of like a gap period. You know, you're a teenager, you're interested in boys, you're busy with sports. And then I came back around to it right when I was going to my graduate degree. I Googled Florida State University and firearms because I'd heard, you know, some colleges had these programs. So I found Florida State's action pistol team. At the time, there was a female president, which was really cool for me, right? That was encouraging. So I asked her on Facebook, actually, if I'd come out, check out the team, shoot with her. So she took me to the range, Talon Range, Tallahassee, best place ever. And I made the pistol team. So I was supposed to shoot on the 22 team. And then day before the competition, they moved me to the 9mm team, which was pretty cool. After that, I signed up for my very first Glock match. Shot that in August in 115-degree heat. That was awesome. And it still didn't deter me. I did terrible, but I wasn't last. And then spiraled from there. So I shot USPSA, Steel Challenge. I went into a lot of the cowboy action for a couple years. Found 3-gun. That was my thing. I love 3-gun. It's just kind of been a whirlwind ever since.
Oh, cool. Now, when you joined that college team, what kind of shooting was that? Was it stand and shoot, or like really long distance, or?
Yeah, so they had a couple teams. The pistol team, for example, would compete in Steel Challenge, or it was called the Scholastic Shooting, like action shooting team. So it's like the collegiate level. Mm-hmm. So they had two teams, a 22 rimfire team, then 9mm or centerfire. What was interesting is once you go up to 9mm, you couldn't go back down to 22. I don't know why, but that was a thing. Then there was a rifle team. So my buddies like Corey and Scott, they were on the rifle team, and then they had trap and skeet. So Florida State actually had it all. But I was more of pistol team. We learned Steel Challenge, USPSA, how to reload. We had our own reloading press. Picked up brass on the range, 8 o'clock at night, all the time. That was the blast. So yeah, we had a good time.
I bet. I know. I that's the least favorite thing about shooting at the range is like, I gotta pick this up still now.
I'm a range chicken. I'm okay with that.
Well, it seems like there's never a good solution. You can either put a tarp down, or you're kind of stuck there and you're like, oh, I was going to do something else. And then you're like, well, oh, well,
yep,
I'll pick it up when I find it.
Exactly. It doesn't matter. And then I'm just like, all right, I'm going to sit here for hours. So,
Well, and how I found you, well, I don't know. I can't remember actually how we met on social media. It was a while ago, but you're big into 3-gun. And what made you kind of stick to 3-gun as your like core sport?
I find that so much more fun. So in 3-gun, you're going to have, of course, all the transitions with different platforms, but you're going to have aerial targets. You're going to have long range shooting. You're going to have really hard pistol shots, paper and steel. And that's a lot of fun. So if you've never shot that, it's just a whole different ball game, right? So I've never really been focused on any one gun. And I think 3-gun just kind of brings it where I'm mediocre at all of it. It's great.
Well, then you're a master at using your knife, right? With your shotgun.
Yeah. So my shotgun problems will keep going forever in life. I don't know how that'll go, but yeah.
I mean, even if you went to a box fed shotgun, you'd still be having problems.
I know. I want to go to open one day. So for those listening, on my Instagram, it was a very painful video, but I cleared it. Major malfunction, pulled up my knife, ripped that shell into the lifter, got it in there, finished the stage. It took me 40 seconds to do that, but the last 3 plates would have cost me 60 seconds. So I'll take them.
That'd be nice if there was a way, if someone made a handguard for your shotgun to hold a knife in there for you so that you can just pop it out of the handguard and then like fish it out.
I think I need one of those wrist strap things where I can like, it's ready to go.
There you go. That'd be a good idea. Like
one day.
Yeah. And now have you taken any, besides your college shooting team, have you ever taken any professional formal training from anybody?
Yeah, so when I was gearing up for a 3-gun, not professional-ish, but my buddy Scott, he taught me a lot for 3-gun. I was so new to it. So he taught me how to load, how to shoot kind of the different platforms. But then after that, him, my buddy Brad and Alan and I, we all took a class from Joel Turner. Well, Joel Turner is AMU. He wins all these matches. He's now an open, but he's a phenomenal shooter and the best teacher I probably ever had. So we went to East Alabama Gun Club. We did like a 2-day class. We worked on offhand rifle, which is my weakness. A lot of the movement and the footwork. So that was kind of key, where AMU has this specific like footwork that they do, and you see it in his videos. Kind of all makes sense now. So we worked on that. That was a really cool class. So that was private too. So I don't know if he does those publicly or not, but that was neat. Now, this past year, I've done Travis Tomassi's class, which I really needed for pistol. Pistol, of course, is the hardest, I think, gun to master. You know, the skills are more perishable pretty quick. So I took his class, another 2-day, East Alabama Gun Club. I guess they hold a lot of classes there, but learned a lot on transitioning, blind transitions, a lot of like eye movement and understanding that. Travis is like scientifically brilliant when it comes to shooting stuff. So yeah, and then I have lists of who I want to take classes with. I almost got in a Christian Sailors class, but that'll be next.
There you go. And yeah, Travis is big on the mental game, and I think my buddy who is mentored under Travis is talks about velocitization and just doing everything fast. I mean, I don't think I've seen anyone with a faster reload than Travis.
Oh yeah, so the whole reload and the whole concept was reloading it as high as possible. Like, it sounds dramatic, but he would have a shoot and then really bring it up to our eyes, so we're really right there. And then the eye movement was crazy. So like, say you have barrels, okay, in your way, and you're going from left where you see your targets, and you have to go around a barrel to find them. You know the targets are there, right? So why are you coming around the barrel hesitating to shoot it? Start, getting on that trigger, prepping that trigger, and when you're clear in that barrel, you know where the target's at, start pulling the trigger. He made it so that your time without barrels there from that same transition was the exact same with barrels. Brilliant.
Right. And seeing only that, except what you need to see. You only need to see the A zone, essentially. You don't need to see the whole target when you come around those barrels either.
And just making like obstacles, I guess, less fearful. So like, if you're afraid of that barrel and I might shoot it or whatever, he just kind of taught, like, don't think about that being in the way. You know where the targets are at. So yeah.
Travis is definitely on my list. My list is ever changing. It seems like whoever gets on the list, someone gets always kicked off, and for some odd reasons, it always changes on my list. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there who love gear, and I mean, I think we all love gear to an extent, but when you want to run over maybe your 3-gun setup and maybe like your USPSA pistol and your rifle for USPSA.
Yeah, so my 3-gun setup has changed, of course. I started with the Glock. I started with the Daniel Defense V7 with iron sights, not so smart in 3-gun. And then my shotgun actually started out with the Stoeger M3000 I still have. So the Stoeger, and again, I went out to a match with no action work on the shotgun, 5 rounds, loading one at a time, super stupid. Again, iron sights galore, but I had a great time. So now I still have that Stoeger. I switch over to Benelli. Both of them kind of give me complications from time to time, but love shotgun, 12 gauge. And then for rifle, I ended up building my own. So I have a ballistic advantage barrel. They take care of me. Double Star actually takes care of me too, and they put the lower with a stormtrooper on it, so it's awesome. My nerd in me is very happy, and then all Timber Creek parts and stuff. So I love that gun. Hyperfire triggers is now in everything, which I'll talk about PCC too, but that was key. I learned a lot about triggers as well. So like when you're switching platforms, it sounds silly, but you almost still want that same break that you have in a pistol and a rifle. And if you start switching triggers everywhere, there is a big difference, I guess, when you're on a different level of shooting. So then pistol game, finally, 2011. So I shoot an Atlas Titan in 9mm. It's freaking phenomenal. A lot of people, well, maybe you don't know this, but a lot of people in 3-gun are kind of frowning upon like the 2011 platform because they're safeties, they're, easier, I guess, to discharge, but I haven't had a problem with mine. I love it so much. And I was shooting the Walther Q5 for a time before switching to that. USPSA. Mm-hmm. I've shot kind of it all. So I used to shoot carry optics with the Walther Q5 steel frame. And then I have a Canix now, so I love my Canix. And then I'm doing limited minor. So I'm just one of those people that kind of practices with USPSA for 3-gun to work on my accuracy and stuff. And it's a lot of fun. But right now I'm chasing PCC. I actually found PCC to be enjoyable. I know people bash on PCC and that's fine. But my PCC is a Palmetto State Armory gun. I've got the hyperfire trigger in it. The Blitzkrieg buffer is what you need to put in that gun. And then I have some Timber Creek parts on it as well. I think that's everything. The shotgun caddies are key, by the way. So I went through like TACOM, I tried King competition caddies. There's a lot out there. It's pretty overwhelming. And then I found Invictus Practical, who now sponsors me. But when I was getting started, I had no clue about their company, and I started trying them. They're so easy to switch up, and for your hand grabs, you can cant them. It's amazing. So I use Invictus, and then definitely get a hood for your holster. My DQ from 3-gun, very first match shooting 3-guns, 3-gun nationals, I didn't have a hood on my holster. So my Walther went flying and DQ'd after 9 shots of shotgun because I was running. So hood is essential, I think, in that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm surprised you say that people frown on 2011s and 3-gun, because that's what it seems like everyone is shooting, at least nowadays. It was like you used to see the USPSA race guns in open at one point in 3-gun, and then they went to like polymer frame pistols with red dots, and now like TAC Ops is, for the most part, I see locally to me for people who cross train between, they shoot 9mm 2011s.
Yeah. I don't know. There's something with like dump barrels and dump buckets, just having that manipulative safety and stuff, and just like the lighter triggers. There's a lot, I guess, frowned upon. I'd heard it from left and right. I mean, I haven't had a problem yet. Hopefully I don't, but yeah. I think the most painful part about 3-gun with that gun is that it's been thrown in barrels and buckets with full of water and stuff. And that's like, $5,000 going in there. And you're like, oh, great.
Right. Well, and I guess I could see where the safety gets flipped down after you put it in the barrel, and you're I don't know if, depending on rule set, I mean, you're either going home or you get a 30-second penalty.
It hasn't happened to me, but I think it has happened before. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I guess that's the hardest thing about 3-gun is that there's no uniform body currently that's taken over, because 3-gun Nation's not here anymore.
Yeah, there is UML rules, which a lot of people use. Yeah, 3-gun Nation's definitely dead. But yeah, that's probably my biggest, not complaint, but the struggle with 3-gun is whenever going to a match, it's really what the MD says we're following, plus some extra rules maybe for the range or the setup or whatever. So it's kind of hard to keep track of.
But usually
and then, Andy Horner, he used to do actual point scoring. So if on paper, if you were outside the A zone, like you got penalties. So then you're actually talking about a mix of like USPSA scoring and 3-gun, which extra nightmare.
And that's Mr. Horner at where is that, Marie? What was that? That was in like Tennessee, Kentucky.
It was in Kentucky. It was at the Rock Castle.
Yes, the Rock Castle Pro-Am. And
yeah.
See, I only know about that from watching I think the series Hot Shots like 4 or 5 times now. And that's kind of how I got started into, loving competition. It's like I watch this. It's like Jerry, like, everyone knows Jerry. I mean, Jerry, and it's like, this is cool. This is a cool thing. And you watch it and it's like, oh, this is really fun. Yeah. And you find out about all these places you go. And yes, I guess from hearing, Mr. Horner has some hellacious matches.
It does. It's a lot of fun. Oh man, and Bruce Davidson, I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's an evil match director that does high value targets, meaning your last shot, you have to drop your mag, doesn't matter if it's a rifle or pistol, drop mag, and you have this extra targets colored. You have to hit it. If you don't hit it, 30-second penalty, and you got to move on. Like, that's it, you're out. But that's how he made it safe for like reholstering or slinging your rifle again. So when he knows you're clear, right? You just shot the last round, you re-sling it or you reholster and you go on to the next gun. And Bruce would have you use like all three firearms like twice on a stage. It was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Like, you'd hot holster your pistol back, and then before you dump it again in a bucket.
Well, it's either hot holster or you have that last empty shot. So your empty pistol, which is fine, reholster it, and then your rifle stays on your back. Like, you are not dumping your rifle for the most part. So even if you're shooting shotgun, rifle slung, or you're done shooting rifle, re-sling it, and then you're on to the next gun. That's a lot of gear on you.
Is a slung rifle a big thing in 3-gun, or is that becoming more of a thing?
So Nordic Vortex Trigon had one stage that had the sling that we had to unsling it, shoot, but that was the last gun, so we didn't have to re-sling it. Now, Bruce Davidson, for sure, like all of his matches, every single stage, your rifle is slung on your back. Or you'd start with it and re-slung it, sling it. Then Mountain State 3, and I think did say bring a sling this year. So it just depends on the match. I think 1 or 2 is kind of fun and applicable. There's a lot of people in 3-gun that's going to let you borrow gear. So like for me, I didn't have a sling for a while and I was borrowing. Luth AR actually set me up with their stock, which has an insert for a sling in it, has like a little cup, and then I attach it back onto the rail, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty awesome. Now, for those special rules, or the rule set was typically going to be in a 3-gun matchbook, I'm assuming then?
Yeah, I mean,
or their website.
Yeah, it'll say like UML rules followed. And UML rules kind of United Multi-Gun League. Interesting. People don't know this, so if you're listening, key, here you go. On a stage, say you could shoot whatever, it's steel and paper, right? So it's rifle or pistol. Well, you could pistol the whole thing, right? In UML rules, you can't. You actually get a penalty if you don't shoot at least 2 guns per stage. So you are forced to do that multi-gun aspect of it. And then they'll sometimes add like some fun rules. Again, my favorite is Bruce's rule. Was like he made up a rule. He goes, if t-shirts or clothing that are offensive offends you, you probably shouldn't come. Like, that's the thing that we have to write now,
Yeah, I think I have one shooting t-shirt that would be offensive. I think Bill made it, and it's the F Tim Herron shirt. Even though I love Tim Herron, and Timmy's one of my good buddies, and it's just like I had to buy that shirt.
Yeah, I do. Oh, I didn't buy one, but Tim's great. I want to take one of his classes too.
I highly recommend it. I've taken 2 of Tim's classes, and he is probably on the same level as Travis, but not as Travis. Well, Travis is just world champion, so he's a little bit up there. I mean, Tim's getting there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes. Now, what really pushes your and drives your shooting?
Yeah, so my goal, I guess, and I don't know if I'm doing a good job of it or not, but my goal is to pave the way for other females that want to actually shoot and be taken seriously and learn how to shoot, and keep their clothes on. I guess that's the best way to say it. But and you giggle, but it's a thing, right? So it's harder to kind of make a name for yourself when you're not doing that. But like when I have females that like reach out to me and ask me questions about firearms or gear or matches or whatever, they go out and shoot and they tell me about it and they're excited, right? I want those people. I want to go up to a range and be like, oh, I know what you're talking about, or I ask questions if I don't know what they're talking about, and just be competent in what I know. So I don't know if that answers your question or not, but that's kind of my goal in life.
No, it's a good, and I think it's nice because I know around me, it seems like there are females in the sport, but they do it as a girls get out thing, not really that they're trying to be really get better. It's more of a social aspect. Yeah. And I think it's nice to see that you're putting it out there and it's like, look at me, I'm getting better every time, I'm progressing. You won High Lady at Georgia State in PCC. Congratulations.
Thanks. That was a lot of fun.
That looked like a good match, I bet, but I know it was only a half day format and that was probably a very fast match.
So fast. And we had a buddy DQ. Sorry, Andy, calling you out. And so we had 5 people shooting at that time, or 6. It was so small.
Yeah, I was supposed to shoot our sectional match this year, but due to scheduling constraints, I was going to staff the match and shoot the staff day and then work the rest of the match. But the problem was They turned it then to only a 2-day match, so a staff day and a competitor day. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you kidding me? So anyway, I didn't shoot, but I showed up the last day to take photos of for my buddies and whatnot and take some stills. That was my first time ever taking action stills. I'm like, all right, I'll figure this out. And it wasn't even my camera. It was I borrowed a family member's Nikon, which was nice. It had a really nice lens for what I was doing. Literally, but one of my buddies who literally drove it in from Illinois, who shot this match, like they started with 6 on their squad. But they're supposed to have been 9, but 3 of them didn't show up. And then they had like 2 DQs, so there was 4 of them on their squad. And they were like, okay, if you're not shooting, you're pasting and resetting.
It's rough. Yeah. Oh my goodness. And like trying to video content was really interesting. So of course, social media gal here, but I would have everyone line up their phones. So if I was shooting, someone else would have to take the next phone on the stack. But then once I was done, like I had them in order. Okay, Jesse's going, Bill's going. Like it was great.
And you squatted my friend Billy Barton.
That's exactly. Billy didn't know us.
Yeah.
Did you hear about this story?
I have not heard this story yet.
I love you, Billy. It was great shooting with you. So we show up and I was like, I know we have a stranger on our squad. We're gonna have to introduce ourselves. So we take a before picture and he didn't want to be in it. That was fine. But I was like, buddy, you're gonna get to know us real quick. I'm really loud, we're really obnoxious. We're all friends that have like traveled here together to shoot. So it was like 3rd stage in, he starts getting comfortable giving me his phone. Well, and he posted this on his story. I don't think he put it on his page. I took a bunch of crotch shot pictures of people on his cell phone. So like mine, Andy's, Jesse's, who knows? And then Jesse and I would take selfies. Oh man. And then we held a mag inappropriately in a different spot for PCC. It was great. So Billy kind of got the induction to what it's like to shoot with me.
Well, did you pass him the pickle juice at least?
I wanted to so bad. Oh my God. So that's next. It's coming up soon.
Yeah. Billy's a good dude. And yeah, this is the reason I've also went to a sky cam instead of using my phone. Not the silly selfies, because I do this to people's phones all the time. Like I'll talk in their video before they're going or whatnot. And
there were so many though. Like he had a whole screenshot of a whole page of inappropriate stuff.
Semi-inappropriate because everyone had their clothes on still. So
yeah, exactly.
Right. But so I went to the Skycam, and the Skycam, I set it up a couple shooters before me, so it's going, and then I have to edit it later, and then it's kind of cool because you can see more stages. I don't know if you met him, but his name's Rob Teague, and he was shooting Georgia State. I don't know what day he was shooting, but he has a YouTube channel, Pop's Quest, and he gave me the idea of the Skycam, which is really cool. See so much more of the stage, and then you. I think I'd like it as more of a RO's perspective, that you don't have a third person running the bay with a phone.
Yeah, I know what you mean. They were a little bit leery of and hesitant of us following. So a lot of our videos were kind of stayed from the back.
Yeah. Which is fine, long as most people, because you never know if someone's coming back. I think you've even told ROs, I'm coming back.
I've had to do that. And it was scary. Shane actually on a stage just shot it a little bit differently than us. So he didn't forget the target on the very back. He just ran up and was coming back because we still have to transition to the other side. He ran into the RO. The RO's up his butt. And it's like, well, dude, he's still got to go to this side. And he got interfered with. But I mean, that could have been a DQ. That could have been a little bit more scary because we all just hear stop and we're like, what happened? Right. So yeah. RO is a big deal of getting out of the way. Beep and move.
Beep, get out of the way, and you got to be at least 5 feet behind them at least. I mean, there's no need to be up their butt unless it's the last shot for a PCC and you're like, get it in there.
I think my buddy Ryan got 2 reshoots. I know one for sure because he bombed a stage. It was horrible, and then they didn't pick up the shots. I was like, so he got a reshoot and did a whole lot better.
It's not often that the reshoot fairy gives you good luck. We had
mine was at area 5 when I fell on my knee and I got a reshoot because they didn't pick up the time. All right. That was a fairy for sure.
Yeah. How are your knees doing, by the way?
I was looking at mine today. They're so much better. I have scars that are healing, which is good. I have knee compression, knee brace now. Yeah.
So we're getting there.
Yeah, it's fine. But they'll be damaged again, I'm sure, this weekend or at Nationals. Yeah.
Yeah. Knock on wood. I mean, I don't know what the terrain is at Nationals. Is it gravel or is it sand?
Well, they have the clay bays and stuff, but then in the back, they have more of the gravel-ish, but not bad.
Yeah. Speaking of Nationals, how do you like CMP as a range?
I like it. I know a lot of people do and don't, right? I think like for multi-gun, no, like they had a multi-gun match there and the bays aren't deep enough and you can't really move that much. It's not like a jungle run. As far as like the rest, I think it's really nice that we have that facility. I think I'm partial or biased or whatever because for the collegiate nationals, that's where we had it, was at CMP. So there's kind of a history there. But man, parking's easy. I don't know, it's convenient.
Well, especially, I mean, for you, it's you can either go, go south farther and go home, see your family, or go home and you're not that far away because you live in Tennessee now.
Yep. I moved to Tennessee for shooting. A lot of people ask me that. So I was between Georgia or Tennessee. Georgia has state tax. I don't really like living in Atlanta. And if you're not in Atlanta, you're kind of in a rural place, really, is how I look at Georgia. So Tennessee, people get so mad at me. Like last weekend for the Georgia State 2.5 hour drive, it's nothing. Kentucky, 2.5 hours maybe. North Carolina, South Carolina, 3-4 hours. Like Tennessee is very, very central to shooting. So that was one of my goals, is to be in a spot that was easier to get to matches. CMP is like 4 hours from me. So
right, for me, average local is a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's not too much. That's not too bad at all. Especially if you're going to make a day out of it or a weekend out of it. Like,
yeah, you got to tell everybody at home, like, hey, I'm taking the day, go on the range, pack lunch,
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Now, I joked about the pickle juice earlier, but you really like having pickles on the range. You want to explain that to the listener?
Okay, so I did actually, there's a nutritional thing with this. I'm obsessed with pickles. Pickles are amazing. All of them, whole, slice, hamburger, whatever. Spicy, not, I don't discriminate. But pickle juice is really good. Like runners use it for cramps and stuff, right? So a couple of things. This might be some tidbits. Cold water is actually it's not good for you. So your body is trying to heat that water back up and process it, so it's using more energy, right? So when you're on the range, drink as much like room temperature water that you can. Bananas, same thing, like they're so high in potassium, and so are pickles, but the bananas take longer to process, so again, more energy is being expended just to break that down. Pickles, not so much. Dude, pickles at lunch, pickles in the afternoon, pickles for breakfast is fine, but people know me as a pickle person. I think at least once a week I get a message with a picture of pickle chips, like pickle dip, something like that. So I'm started telling people, I was like, listen, if you see these products, please buy them and ship them to me and I will pay you back.
And if I was correct, you even had a pickle holster at one point.
Yeah, I need to get another one made because I sold that gun. Now I don't have one for the mechanics. So I need a pickle holster. I am going to get a pickle jersey made. I have more pickle stupid stuff coming out at Endless Summer Blast this weekend, so just prepare for stupid shenanigans.
Yeah, I'm already working on next year's jersey, that's for sure. So I got to get with Bill's guy and start cracking on that. So that'll be a fun experience.
What was your tag on yours? Do you remember?
2 World Wars. But the funny part is, on the back of my jersey, I have Tim Herron Shooting as a logo on there. So it's perfect sense because Tim shoots 1911, so it's.
Oh my God.
They did a good job on that one.
Mine says you look like a safety rule and adequate ability. Thanks.
I love it. Bill's
people
so
were talking about, you got to order a jersey from Go Fast Don't Suck. They're cheaper than normal, actually, like other brands. I won't mention their names because they're still great companies, but he always prints something really rude on the tag on the inside, and not rude, but funny. And that's what I look forward to when I get my jersey.
He's one of those rules. It's like, if you can't take Go Fast Don't Suck humor, you shouldn't be here.
Yes. And have you seen what he did for IDPA Nationals?
The porta potty banners. That was actually his second time doing that. He did that at the Trident's, the main championship, the flyby match, whatever I can't remember the exact name, but he was the porta potty sponsor, and those are hilarious. I even messaged him. I was listening to the Casual Shooters podcast, and Bill was on. I'm like, Bill, I need a porta potty banner. What are you talking about? Well, I heard you made porta potty banners. I want one. He's like, all right.
Anyone?
So I got to figure out I want to design one of those and have him make me one of those.
That's awesome. Yeah, those are really funny. So, oh gosh.
Bill's funny, but as funny as he really cares about the sport, deeply cares, even though you wouldn't think about it because he's a meme page.
I shot with him at Low Cap Nationals, a lot of fun, and he's a really good shooter. So, and he shoots in Atlas as well, so it was nice.
It seemed like he spanked everybody on that squad.
Yeah. I learned that I am not a low cap person. I can't count rounds. Yeah, it was a bad match.
Well, yeah, when you're like, I'm supposed to go until it doesn't fit anymore.
Yeah. Now I'm like, hold on. And like the MBX mags and the Atlas mags, they're all metal, so you can't see how many you have in there. So take them all out, put them back in. It's the whole thing.
Yeah. Bill's lucky because he lives near those communist states, so he has to do that every once in a while. So
it's true.
Now, do you have like any shooting goals, like match wins or classification goals?
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to match win. That's a joke. But this is funny. But in 3-gun, I would love to shoot a match where every single firearm works. This sounds so stupid. I've been shooting for years, but I would love a clean gun running match. When it comes to PCC though, I'm super close to making A class. I literally have maybe shot that 5 matches now, which has been fun. But I'd never shoot locals-ish. I shot an all-class fire match just to get a classification. So I want to make A class. I want to win B class though. So I've come, let's see, area 5, 3rd in my class, despite the falling on my knee, which was great. And then this past Georgia State was 5th, which I'm not mad about that because there was like 20 in that class. So I want to move up. I always want to have high lady in those matches though. Like division high lady maybe, but like I'm never going to beat, I don't think, Jessie Harrison because she's amazing, or Ashley, or any of those girls, right? But in 3-gun, that would be my goal, is try to win high lady. I mean, who doesn't want to win their division, right? Mm-hmm. You're counting and betting on yourself. But the pistol skills, again, limited minor is kind of hard, but I just want to be better with a pistol. I want to take more pistol classes. So I don't necessarily have goals as far as levels or classifications or match wins, but my goals are to improve, to be a better shooter, to take more classes and be educated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, all we can really do is follow the process and try to get better and analyze what we're doing. I mean, match videos are great for the gram, but now I'm looking more at them and like, all right, well, what did I do here? Did I falling out of position? Did I come in too hot? Was my gun up and ready to fire? It's like so many things besides, oh, that was a cool looking run. No, there's a list of 10 things I can work on here.
Yeah, but at the same time, like when you come off a stage or come off a match, you also have to look at the wins that you took away. It's really easy to like, here's a list of all the negatives. So Mike Stoker, I don't know if you ever listened to his podcast with me, taught me to have a journal. So have somewhere, stupid pink journal someone gave me, but I've been using it for my shooting journal. So when I come off the stage, right now I'm like what I did well and then what I need to work on.
Yes, I'll let you know, I've listened to every one of your episodes.
Oh my gosh, thanks.
Yep. I mean, some of them are long and I'm like, well, this is good because I'm at work all day. So it pays off when you even put it in a 2-parter and it was like almost 4 hours.
So long, but Rob is amazing. So he's my knife guy and he does a lot of martial arts, and there's so much in our community. I know you and I talked about it on social media. We don't do a lot of medical training, right? We don't really know. I want to have more medical training. I have tourniquet, I have first aid experience. That's stupid, right? But like, that's probably a priority. And I think with everything else too, I mean, we need to prioritize more than just shooting, I guess.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. I have been lucky. I've been a first responder at my job since I've hired in there. I've also taken a college class, like a whole semester being a medical first responder. I'm this close. I finished the course. I'm this close to taking the test, but COVID it's an in-person computer test that you have to go. And it's like, so I'm like, well, now I'm actually thinking of going after work figures out what shift I'll be actually on for my day job. I'm planning on going back and maybe getting my EMT license. So
that'd be awesome. I think you should definitely do that. That's an investment in yourself. I think it's worth it. Yeah, and like going back to Rob's, like martial arts is huge. Like half the time you're really not going to use a gun, or maybe you just have to point a gun. But if you've got someone in your space and they take away your gun or whatever, what else do you have that you can work with, right? So.
And I was thinking about the incident Area 5. I will not mention the whole circumstance, but even thinking if something, oh shit, happened, someone got hurt, more people freak out in the matter of something happening like that than being able to be calm, assess the situation, take care of the issue, and get that person to where they need to be. And I'm fairly lucky. I've dealt with some crappy situations at work for medical reasons, and I would say that training is, besides being inoculized to that kind of stress of a situation like that, it's very it's beneficial, I'd say, for everybody.
Yeah, if you've not seen it or been around it, it's pretty terrifying. You've been on a range long enough, hopefully never do, but you're probably going to come across something.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. Now, we talked about your match day pickles and whatnot. Is there any other nutritional tips that you partake in besides the pickles?
Yeah, so I don't look fit. I'm definitely not fit, but I have been better about nutrition. So couple days in advance, especially if it's like a 3-day match, especially in the summer for 3 gun murders me, but 2 to 3 days out, I'm drinking extra water. Like I already drink a lot, but you want to stay kind of overhydrated. If it's the day of the match or whatever, you're already too late, right? Caloric like consumption, you want to have a lot of protein, eat healthy. I don't really process fried foods very well the night before. I don't drink the night before like so many people do. That's super unhelpful. But no, like nuts and fruits, and I actually put those in a cooler normally and bring those. And I use liquid IV. They make a couple of different other powders. I think what's that? Pedialyte. Like I have Pedialyte liquid, but there's the powders now. Mm-hmm. You put that in your water, and drinking 1 water bottle of that with the powder stuff is actually equivalent to 3 water bottles, right? So it's overhydrating. Yeah, pickles are great. Bananas are good, to have, but I've just looked at a lot of the things of game day. Now, a lot of people like to not eat, or they don't snack, or they eat too much at lunch. I'm not one of those people. I see a lot of people drop off that eats a bunch at lunch during a match, and then they slow down, right? The whole afternoon's kind of sluggish, I would say. So it's better just to take small snacks throughout the whole match than it is to sit and have these massive meals, right?
Mm-hmm. I would agree. And I sometimes like at a major match, or even like a local, I'll skip the lunch and just like I snack on. I'm really bad. I get the Uncrustables, like, and I'll put them in my cooler and be like, well, I'll have a snack every other day. And
no, did you listen to Don and Rich's stupid grape Uncrustables?
Oh no, I like the grape ones. The grape ones are good.
That's all they do. They buy a frozen like bulk pack and they eat them all in a weekend. It's so gross.
I actually got that tip from my buddy Joey, and he was like, "Yeah, these things are legit." Because he had at a training class, and he just like kept snacking on them. Like, you're a genius, because you put them in there frozen, and they're thawed by the time you're ready to eat them.
Exactly what they do. So gross.
They're so good. But I love me some beef jerky on the range, and
yeah, I have deer meat jerky that I do like to have. So anything like that for sure helps.
I'm kind of a last minute planner, so it's like, what can I find at the convenience store before the last exit before the rain?
I'm probably that over prepared person, but yeah, I even have like 100-calorie cashews. It's funny because my snacks are literally right here. But yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I'm a USPSA shooter. I have a lot of crap. So I know you as a 3-gunner have 3 times or 5 times as much crap as I do.
I was talking to my buddy Austin about this. Dude, traveling like as far as flights with 3-gun, you really have to have someone where you land. They're going to have gear for you to share because you're not going to make weight, or you're going to have 3 different suitcases. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a nightmare. And I question why I do it all the time.
Right. Well, and now you have the truck, so you can be like, well, I'm going on a week trip, and it's easier to put everything in the truck and just drive.
That's what I did this summer. I did 2 back-to-back in Minnesota and Missouri. Some of those stages were nice because you can drive the vehicles up. So my favorite matches in the whole entire world for 3-gun is when they're like on a huge piece of property. They just pull up your truck, drop your tailgate, and you don't have to carry around your gear in a cart or a wheelchair or whatever. There's other matches, as we're familiar with, like there was one at CMP where you're gonna have to take cart every single stage with 17,000 firearms and 4 different types of ammo, and you just want to kill yourself.
Mm-hmm. Are you when you go to a 3-gun match, are you only taking 1 gun per, like you take 1 rifle? So you're taking 2 rifles, 2 shotguns, and all the pistols?
I don't want to say this on air, but legit, like it's not fun to travel. I have, my Daniel Defense, which was my first 3-gun rifle. I still have it, the V7. It's set up exactly like my primary, my Stormtrooper rifle. So I have 2 of those. I've had to use it, so it's come in handy. And then the shotguns, I always have the Benelli, and I always have the Stoker, and at some point I probably borrow somebody else's, and that's a nightmare. The only thing that I don't have like the same gun with or whatever is a pistol. So I'd love to have a backup 2011 one day, but the Atlas has ran, knock on wood, like a champ. Like that gun's never gone down. It's the best firearm I've ever owned. I'm gonna be buried with it. So, but yeah, no, I always bring backup because I know me and I know 3-gun.
Yeah, that is definitely a challenge, especially like, well, you got to pack 3 rifles, so they're sitting in a 3 rifle case, and you got like the shotguns. And
that was so stupid. I know my buddy and I, we went to nationals together, and between 3 shotguns that we had brought, we were down to 1 between the both of us sharing. So
At least you had a buddy there, though. Whose shotgun worked at the end of the day?
Oh, it was his. So he let me his sons that he used to shoot, and then he had his, and then I don't even remember. It was the backup to the backup to the backups. Yeah, that was Steve Lackley's gun, and his son Tom used to shoot. He is an amazing shooter. So he'll just show up to a match every now and then in Atlanta and just win everything.
Yeah, that's how some people are, right? They're like, well, it's time to come out of retirement for a day.
Yeah, and I hate borrowing guns. A lot of people do. Unless it's the same gun, the same sights, the same, even colored fiber optics is huge, the same trigger. You don't know your holes on scopes when you borrow rifles. Tom's shotgun had like a pad on it and it was elevated, so my cheek weld was off, so I'm shooting low or whatever. So there's a lot that goes into it that people don't realize. It's great if you're new to it and you just want to get into it, but once you're on a different level, you're like, you need your stuff.
Right, yeah. It's definitely a challenge. Unless you're able to, like, you're friends with them, they live locally, you can use that shotgun every once in a while. Like, the only thing holding me back from shooting trying 3-gun is having an open shotgun. Because I'm not quad loading it open because I refuse to use iron sights on a pistol.
Yeah.
And so I'll just take my Glock, and I've got a rifle already built. So I just need to get a shotgun. I think I've got a buddy who's gonna let me borrow his tuned up VR80.
Nice. Yeah. That's a good entry shotgun. I'm probably gonna go to open one day and it's gonna be a Dissident. Just like I invested in my 2011, I'm going to invest in the Dissident. For rifles, you don't really need to go get anything special. You can do the offset red dot for closer targets. Your rifle's pretty much not going to change between those divisions.
Right. You're going to have a scope. You have, well, I mean, you have, unless you're shooting limited division, which I don't know why you'd shoot in limited.
There are some really good shooters that shoot limited, and I don't know how, but yeah, the longer ranges, I've watched them not get those.
Right. Like I know Adam Maxwell from Vortex likes shooting limited with
his,
I don't know exactly what red dot it is, but he's a beast. He's an awesome 3-gun shooter. And he also, I think he shoots for Atlas and Vortex. And
Vortex. Yeah, he RO'd the Nordic Trigun, and he was my favorite RO. Did you ever see that safety brief that he did?
I've heard of the safety brief, but I don't think I've ever watched it.
I'm going to have to send you the video. I'm going to have to post it on YouTube. I think it is my favorite thing ever. Adam was like, so Adam, I didn't know, and we shot together at Low Cap Nationals with Bill Duda and everybody. So he was coming kind of out of his shell a little bit. And he had never shot low cap or USPSA. And so I kind of walked him through some of like the scoring and overlays and all that. And then when I saw him at Nordic, he had DQ'd, which is okay. But he was ROing, and he was the best RO ever in flip-flops, a water pack, camelback. It's just hilarious guy. So if you ever get him as an RO, you're in for a real treat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I knew Adam more from the side of sales at Vortex. Well, he's also friends with another friend of mine, Steve Fisher, who's a traveling instructor. Cool. And they always talk some pretty good shit about, on the tactical side of the house, but it's always a good time to listen to them talk because they give each other shit like everybody else does. So
fun to listen to.
Mm-hmm. But heck, if I was an RO, I'm having a camelback on my back.
Flip flops though, he was running from 3 bays to do this. So you go from pistol, you go to shotgun, you go to rifle, and he's like running in flip flops.
I don't do flip flops. It's just kind of like, I don't do slides, and I don't do like the thong flip flops. It's just,
I do not do slides. Yeah, and the thing, I don't know if you know Mark Roth, who makes the Roth Benellis and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. He's known to shoot in flip flops.
I'd shoot in Crocs. I mean, I could get down with shooting in Crocs as long as they're in 4-wheel mode. But yeah, I mean, no flip flops, no. But I would say, yeah, everyone needs a camelback though if you're gonna be an RO. Yeah. But I would say your best RO was the written stage brief for at Georgia, where he just recorded himself and then it's like, here you go, listen to that.
Dude, so he saved his voice because he's gonna have to do it for how many squads for the whole match. He literally record himself on the range, and then he had his Bluetooth speaker and he hit play, and then at the end, any questions? I'm like, dude, this is like the smartest thing I've ever heard of. Mm-hmm. Man, yeah.
Well, and then you don't have people trying to bother you in between, and like, and then that'd be really cool. It's like if I had a 10-minute buzzer at the end of it, like, a 5-minute buzzer, be like, your 5 minutes starts now.
Oh, he should have done that. Now I have ideas.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the next major match I work in, and I'll do that as an RO. I'll get the CRO. I'll do that for the CRO.
I am too.
Unless I become a CRO before next season, which is a plan.
You need to, yeah.
I'm waiting my year, and we just got to get. Luckily enough, we have a range master instructor who lives like an hour away from me, so we can just have it host. We just email him and say, "Hey, are you free this weekend? We can get some people together in like 2 months." And
awesome, yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, I will say we're very lucky to have a range master instructor in the state. So
Yeah, I had to travel for mine. It's not fun.
yeah, mine was about an hour and a half drive, but that was just where they hosted it, which wasn't terrible.
Mine was CMP, but that was when I was living in Florida. So I don't remember how far I drove.
That's not too bad, I guess then.
No.
Oh, excellent. Now we're into the other part of these questions that well, you're a social media expert. I'll call you as that. And what made you decide to, besides the business aspect, what made you really go down this path and stay on this path?
As far as just like 3-Gun Kenzie or social media in general? Or...
Right, social media in general, because I know like sometimes, people get burnout and it's like they find something else they want to do. And you've been doing this for a fairly decent amount of time. So
yeah. I mean, if you find your passion in life, I think that it's just so worth it. You're going to want to share the word. So for my social media and stuff, it's not gotten to the level I wanted at, of course, yet, but I want, again, people to be able to find me and be like, oh, she actually knows how to shoot. I know how to build a rifle, which is really cool. Thanks, Double Star. And like, oh, I can do that too. I don't have to be this like self-dependent person. So I'm very independent in that way. Like I want to do it myself, learn it myself. Not to say I didn't have help. I've had a ton of help. So I want to share education stuff. I want to share like non-political stuff on Instagram or on Facebook, right? I'm about education. So even, for example, I had a lead poisoning blog that I put about how I got lead poisoning and things that you do to remediate that. And there was friends that had sent me all this advice and stuff on what to eat, to do it naturally, right? Not take all these pills. So that was something it's still blown up today where people like, I found this blog. Can I share it? Can I like, yeah, absolutely. Right. But again, I want to inspire others because I was that way, kind of like you watching Top Shot, right? All of us had this moment in time where we saw someone shoot and we're like, oh, we love this. Like you're doing the things that I want to do. So that was cool. The other thing like with that is learning. Like I want people to learn and grow. So I'm getting into archery a little bit. I've been doing that since I'm gonna say March when I went to Kentucky. I like to hunt, like to fish. So I want more people to be outside too. I can't, as much as I do social media, I spend that much time outside as well. So I think raising kids nowadays and seeing like my nephews grow up, like I want them outside, not on a tablet, enjoying the outdoors because the world is beautiful. So I'm not slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, except you don't like mowing the lawn.
I hate the freaking lawn. AstroTurf. When I buy a house, it's gonna have AstroTurf.
Yeah, or just put rocks. Yeah.
No, for me.
No, you just fall down.
AstroTurf. I was thinking about that.
Yeah, it's honestly a good idea. I mean, I love the outdoors. I mean, I grew up outside and I agree. Outdoors are beautiful. Unfortunately, it seems like I never get enough time to go outdoors with the work schedule and just how life is. It's
I was gonna say you've got to take time to do it.
Yeah, and that's the interesting part is like, even though I can make as much time, it's the fact that you always have someone's on vacation, so you're pulling some overtime and then you're trying to figure it out and trying to I think most people today, it's hard to live a balanced lifestyle of work, home life, hobbies, activities, vacations. And
yeah, and your life's different. I tell everybody I'm single, no kids, there's a lot I can do.
Yeah, well, that's true. You can be like, well, and you work for yourself, and that's like the biggest thing is that you're able to work for yourself. Well, I guess you work for I mean, you still work for you're contracted through companies, but you kind of work on your own time.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. So if I get it done, then I can go play. There's still late nights that I've had, of course, and hardships, just entrepreneurship. You just don't know if tomorrow you're going to fail or if it's going to close down. I was very blessed, even with COVID, I didn't have that problem. But yeah, the flexibility of being online, and as long as I get projects done, that's what matters.
That is awesome. And I forgot to mention, you are a firearms instructor.
Woo! Yeah.
Now, what got you into teaching firearms in concealed pistol licenses?
Yeah, so this kind of the heavy segment, which is something I've shared even publicly too. So like most women, I've had sexual assault happen to me. And a lot of people don't talk about that. And it's something that needs to be talked about more. I also had a coworker throw a phone at my face, drunk like a party. My ear split open. I have stitches and all of that. And the final catalyst to all of this is that like I've had a attempted break into an apartment, the very first apartment I lived in Tallahassee in college. So my dad gave me my very first pistol, Glock 17, to have on my bedside, still do. And it was, I want to say I was 22 years old. I lived in a different apartment, and I had a guy that just got out of federal prison that was trying to come through my back door on Tuesday night, like 8 o'clock at night, and came around the front, same thing, had to call the police, but I held him at gunpoint. Police got there. I called my friends from the range, got there before the police. So I'm my own first responder. They're my backup first responders. I joke, and then we have the police officers. Well, the guy was let off with a warning. I'm like, okay, he just got out of prison. Like, I got his name, his info, and he's trying to come in my house, and you're just going to give him a warning. Like, that's kind of terrifying. So when I was looking at teaching, I was thinking, I'm probably going to adhere to more women. Like, I don't like using that all the time, but I know I've taken many a class and seen a lot of people that mansplain and that don't understand our bodies either. We have totally different setup. So we wear different clothing, whatever. So when I started teaching, it was really important I had females, that I was more like understanding and patient with people. I can't teach the pro shooters. I'm not a pro shooter. I'm not a Tim or a Travis, but I can teach the new people. I can teach them safety, how to feel comfortable with firearms, and how to carry a gun. And so that was really important to me, to pass that along so no other women kind of goes through what I go through or have been through.
Yeah, that is awesome. And I think that there needs to be more female instructors out there and people who share their stories, because there are the NRA mansplaining old dudes with their big bellies and their suspenders and their NRA hats, which is just that iconic image I have in my brain now. But they don't have enough information on their own. They don't know how a female's body works, and the fact that they can't wear jeans and flannel every day and whatnot. You've got to make up the difference and have a different perspective. So I think we need that in the industry still. And although I'm not a big fan of all female classes, because they can learn, I think the females can learn in a mixed environment. I've seen it, and it's interesting because their brain does work a little bit differently, and they might need a little extra minute on a certain topic. But it's good to have their perspective in class, because it helps you as a shooter develop, even to then teach someone else. Even though I'm not an instructor, I find it fascinating learning from other people's questions, so then I can explain to somebody else later on.
Yeah, there's no dumb questions, especially because I feel like I ask dumb questions every day. It's like, as much as you and I know about shooting, we still don't know a lot about shooting. So that was definitely important. The other thing I've seen like concealed carry classes fail at is instructors really don't give a crap. Or like in Florida, you just had to sign a certificate. And so many people would literally, I have stories, my friends have done this, shot one round into a wall or one round into a water bucket out of a revolver 22. And that's how they got their license. So this instructor who's tied to these people obviously doesn't give a crap that if they go out and murder people or shoot themselves, God forbid, they're on the line for that, because they're the ones that taught them, gave them that permit access, right? But like, they don't care about that person's future. They don't care about their livelihood. They don't care if they know how to handle a firearm, load, unload, shoot a semi-auto, shoot more than one round. Like, it blows my mind. And I know people are so like against, if they grew up around firearms like you and I, there's so many people that just scoff at education at a basic level, right? They're like, I already know my stuff. I know how to carry a gun, know how to shoot a gun. Well, have you had any formal training from anyone ever? No, but they're not willing to go pay or do that proper class because they think they know everything when they don't. And I'm not saying I know everything or you know everything, but a basic level course is not going to kill you with the right instructor.
Correct. And I would even say like half of my family is on that fuddish side of I've lived around guns. I hunt. I know everything. All right. I won't even engage you in a conversation, because it's not worth my breath to waste, because you're not willing to admit that you need to learn something.
So frustrating.
Well, and yeah, and they're the guys who go out and deer hunt, and after at noon when they found nothing, they'll crack open the beers and they're like, oh, we'll go home now. And guys are a bunch, and then the shotgun's just kicked in the back seat, and you're like, come on, guys, like, you're lucky you don't get pulled over. Because being in a world of hurt, but sometimes it's not worth the effort to explain when they're not willing to listen, at least. So
and half of it is legal reasons. A lot of people don't know the laws, and I'm not going to give a ton of free education about laws. Like, come take a class, because that's where we go over all of these laws. So
well, especially when it's laws are so dependent on your state. It's
Yeah.
There's some laws that are kind of generic and whatnot, but I mean, there's a lot about knowing the certain laws or where you can and can't in your state, or
Yeah.
if the signs hold any legal, any legal force. So it's like,
yeah, there's so many instructors out there just wanting to make a buck. I've seen like 100 people in a class with one instructor for $25, and that's when you shoot a simulated round. So the state statute in Florida said live fire in front of an instructor. So they had simulated rounds, and I don't know how they're getting away with that, but okay. But you're talking about 100 to 1 instructor, like great.
yeah, it's that should speak to the quality of the education they're getting. Like, here, I signed your paper. You were here.
Yeah, exactly. Attendance is the only thing people want to give out anymore. Participation award trophies.
I mean, I like going to a match and getting a free thing. Like the match I went to just yesterday, I got a heavy rifle bag thing. This thing, I want to say, it wears like 20 pounds, and it's a rifle bag, right? You know, you rest your rifle on it. I'm like, I don't shoot rifle. And I was trying all day, like, swap me your bag, like your entry prize bag. I'm like, I don't shoot rifles. And I was like, no, I don't want. Fine, I'll keep it.
That's awesome.
Maybe I'll save it for when I start 3 guns. So then
I'll
when I
zero open, you can use bag.
Yeah, that thing's heavy as shit though. But yeah, I'm on your 3 Gun Kenzie website. You want to explain the girls' day at the range for me?
Yeah, I need to host another one of those soon. So I love putting on Gals Day at the Range. What happened with that class or that event is that the ammo crisis hit, and I understand, like, I can't give away ammo as much anymore. I can't go through all of my supply, but it's so inaccessible right now. So I would come out and I would bring everything. I'd bring PCCs, pistols, rifles, shotgun, and I would say bring ammo, and I'd put the calibers on that event. So I'd have women show up, and I'd have fellow competitive shooters come out. My buddy Scott, that's mentored me, all these people would come out and help, like almost 1-to-1 with these females. And it was people aged from like in their teens all the way up to mom and grandma, which was amazing. I even had some generations in there that was really cool. So I just had pretty much an open space for learning. It wasn't formal. It wasn't like a classroom. It was 4 rules of firearm safety. And then we kind of took it by what gun do you want to work with? And let's try another gun. So it was really important. Like we had a Walther, an HK, a Glock, the Atlas, all of these different manufacturers firearms, because so many people don't realize they need to go shoot the guns for themselves before buying one, especially when they carry. So I'd have people all come out and just enjoy shooting. Then ammo crisis hit, and now people are like, I can't find anything, and they don't buy in bulk like you and I do, or they don't see the value in spending that money, which its priorities, right? But that's a really fun event.
Yeah, and I see that it wasn't a very big cost. It seems like, for an entry fee, it's like that's a really good deal, especially to get exposure to all those different firearms. And except when it's really funny, the entertainment value when you see Hammer and Sear try to quad load.
Oh yeah, so he came out and volunteered. Oh my god, that was the raunchiest and funniest video I've ever taken. But yeah, again, right? So people make fun of 3-gun, people make fun of PCC and USPSA, whatever. Quad loading is no joke.
I can't remember. Was he trying to do weak hand or strong hand quad loading?
That one, yeah, was the weak hand. Okay, and so I tried to do strong hand. I tried to do the both. So he then got in the shoulder, and that was when they just kept bouncing out. I'm like, yep.
Yeah, that was a funny video. That was when he was very new. I think that was probably when he was still shooting single stack or something before he decided to get a big boy gun.
He had the 40 cal I want to say Edge. I don't think it's the Edge, but he still had a limited major gun. He just didn't have his honcho stuff yet.
Yeah, those are pretty cool guns, though. I think those are some pretty cool guns.
He doesn't shoot 3-gun, but I just made him quad load to humble himself.
Yeah, and I know USPSA doesn't have stage guns like in some match. It would be cool though. Pick up the shotgun, shoot this target. I mean, probably a USPSA legal target, because I don't think spinners are legal in USPSA. Or
I think you're right. I can't remember back in the day.
3-gun has cool props that we don't use in USPSA.
You're never ever going to see what we have. Yeah, so we've had the inline plate racks, which are really fun. You just shoot the same spot. You don't even have to wait on the plate fall. It's gonna fall, right? The other ones was a circle plate rack, and then you shoot squares or something, then you shoot triangles, so it gets smaller, and that's 6 and 6 and 6, and it's a nightmare. I've ran up A-frames. I've gone 30 feet up in the air to shoot at rifle targets, unharnessed, which is pretty dangerous. I got to ride and shoot out of a helicopter, which is pretty cool, little mini bird. Yeah, so there's a lot in 3-gun that you just don't get to do anywhere else. The clay aerial target, all of that jazz.
Yeah, that sounds
stage guns. Stage guns, I will say, can be fun and not fun, because I've had like stage guns where they're a pump shotgun and they don't run because they don't clean it, and there's too many shooters, so that's not really a fair level of competition, I guess. But I have shot some really cool stuff. Like we shot a full auto gun to start off the stage. We did an MP5 and dumped that gun and moved on to the stage. That was part of our time, was shooting that stage gun, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I will say for 3-gun, you definitely get to experience a lot more different shooting challenges.
Oh yeah.
But I know you were up here a couple months ago for the Great Lakes 3-gun championship in Indiana. I think that was one of those you drove your truck around on, or you're able to, because you wouldn't be able to push a cart on that range.
No, the range setup is not conducive to a lot of it, because there was no bathrooms, and then it was weird. It was cool because you're in the mountain, but if stage 1 is here, you weren't allowed to drive to stage 2 until they cleared that like area, like the shooters were done moving to 3, because there'd be shots fired where your vehicles would be driving, so you're stuck. Yeah.
And I think you and I have the same pet peeve, is when competitors don't paste and reset.
So if I ever won an award, it would not be for shooting, it would be for resetting. I am competitive at resetting, but that's part of the game, and that's why I don't love like Georgia State. I love Georgia State match. Love. I don't love RO reset. You're already getting volunteers that are ROing. They're working their time. Now they got to pace targets the whole time. Like I would lose interest. But that kind of brings out like the character in people. So when I see people that don't reset, that tells me I don't ever want to squad with you again. So.
Yeah, we had some issues yesterday, I will say, with people resetting. It was the fact that your people who are resetting, typically, are your resetters, were either the shooter, or you were like about almost time for them to be back. For me, like, I've got to go reload my mags, got to do my debrief, got to turn off my cameras, because they don't last forever. You can't leave them playing all day.
Yeah.
But you get back, you reset, you either grab the I'm typically the one who likes to grab the timer after I've been done shooting, or I'll grab the tablet. My favorite thing is, after the stage I've been first on, that means I'm the last one on the next stage. So I'm like, just hand me the tablet. I mean, I'll run through all these shooters until it's 3 shooters until me. It's like, okay.
Yeah. It's not hard to volunteer or help or do any sort of, and I know that there's different age gaps and immobility and stuff, but there's got to be a time when if you can't even walk to pace holes, you probably shouldn't be shooting.
Or you're shooting steel challenge.
Yeah.
And speaking of steel challenge, segueing, but you've shot a bunch of major matches this year, and last year. I think you're one of the people who shoots a fairly amount of majors. How many USPSA and 3-gun majors do you think you shoot in a shot this year in 2021?
Oof. I have to go back and look. I want to say somewhere around 30 at least. Bunch of areas. I did World Speed Shoot because I was paid to go do that. That was fun. Yeah, and then I've shot at least 4 or 5 major 3-gun matches this year. I can't actually remember the number. So that's a lot of fun. Steel challenge actually has a huge value. People again scoff at it, but when you think about transitioning, especially like with PCCs and stuff, your eye speed has to move quickly to go from one target to the next, and you really learn those transitions. And again, your eye movement's everything. So if you're looking at this target and you need to move, your eyes need to be there way before the gun's even there and moving on to the next. So Steel challenge is really up my level of, I guess, pushing myself and being aggressive on targets.
And it's crazy how fast Grant and can't remember Ken's last name, but Ken's a freaking beast with the iron sights from So I spawned with him with World Speed Shoot, and I didn't know who the kid was. And then Jesse Harrison was on my squad too, and Sal Luna and everything. We just hear ding, and then Jesse was like, "Wow, what?" And I turned around and we're just like, hold on, where did this kid come from? We didn't know his name, came out of nowhere.
And then when I went to Area 4 Steel Challenge in Texas, I was ROing Grant and nobody had heard of them on my squad or on my RO team. I was like, you might want to hand me the timer, but you also might want to watch the shots and just like you're going to want to go fast or really pick up those shots on a PCC. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, and they're both Ken's shooting iron. I think, does Grant shoot irons as well, or is he just shooting optics?
We both have shot a lot. I know Grant shot irons and red dot, and he was faster with irons at World Speed Shoot. So that's what won him the overall time. Ken, though, has been doing a lot. So he would shoot irons open or the red dot, and then now he's actually shooting an open pistol. He shot USPSA, and Grant's moved into USPSA with PCC, which is cool. So they're learning a lot. All of them are really good at everything. It's frustrating.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see how Grant finishes out. I think he's shooting nationals this year, so
yeah,
that'll be cool to see.
And he shot AK Masters too, which I got to get an AK to do, but that was cool to see him compete in that too.
I mean, you don't really need an AK. You can go get an IWI.
Oh, I know. But I want a dissident AK.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would love a dissident. I think that's when if I ever actually go into open shot, if I ever get my open shotgun, it'll be a dissident.
Yeah, just sell everything you own and then buy one. You'll be fine.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You're probably a gun collector. I'm much more of a competitor when it comes to guns. Like if it doesn't have a purpose, it doesn't stick around.
I'm actually not a competitor or collector as much. So I have cowboy action guns and they haven't been used in a while, but I'm not going to sell them because I'm going to shoot that one day again. And they don't make my SKB shotgun anymore. Well, my rifle is spot on. But yeah, so then I have my two rifles, my two shotguns, my pistols, and I have a pistol for each division and all that gear. I'm still missing things. Like I finally got PCC. I need a backup PCC. I need an NRL 22 gun. I need a PRS gun. Like there's things that I really need. The same thing. It's really competitive driven.
But I do have those guns that, you just can't get rid of because they have sentimental value. And you're like, I can't ever get rid of this.
No, the one that my dad gave me, I don't care if it's Glock, it's never ever leaving me. And then I have like my different concealed carry guns depending on the season. So
yeah. And yeah, we always need these guns, but like I'm not one like, ooh, that looks cool. No, I'm not gonna buy you because it looks cool. It's like, do you have a purpose? Or is there an application for you? Okay, yes, then maybe, but
yep.
But I know you break guns all the time. How is that Palmetto State Armory lasted?
So I blame Ryan. So I bought it for my buddy Ryan. It's worked for him phenomenally, like always ran. Took it all the way to Texas and I finished the match, but I let someone shoot it and just like literally 3 shots in, click, trigger died. So the actual disconnector had like split off. So there's a piece of metal in the firearm itself. But I actually won my division and won B class in Steel Challenge, which was cool. But yeah, I ended up with a broken firearm. Came back, put a hyperfire in it. That was the problem. Didn't have a hyperfire. Now it does. Now it works. Runs like a champ. I clean it. He didn't clean it really well. I'm kind of that person that has to have it clean before a match. I don't really care about practice sessions, but it's going to be clean.
Yeah. Now, and it seems typically that most PCCs have issues with depending on the length of the cartridge.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're gonna have to build a load for a PC. Well, if you reload, you're gonna have to build for a PCC or by factory ammo, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, and I won't mention names or anything, but there were certain problems with coated flat nose bullets with not being able to feed. So actually my Palmetto State Armory PCC doesn't have a feed ramp, which is neat. So it just has the hole right for the barrel. Some PCCs are picky where they need a feed ramp to get that ammo in, but if you have like a flat nose, sometimes, I'm not saying always, on a feed ramp, it can get caught up in that and not feed. Yeah, and the sizing might matter. Mine's not picky, so mine is shot freaking every single thing I've thrown at it, and I shoot Supervel now out of it, and it's just amazing.
Supervel makes good ammo. I've had a lot of friends of mine who shipped primers or whatever to Supervel and be like, load me ammo, and they don't even reload. They're just like,
I know.
You buy the primers. Luckily, it seems like Brownells is getting them about every other week or every month. You can get a 2-pack.
Yep.
So primers are coming back.
Brownells, Midway, I can't remember Nuggets. Now I don't know how to say the word. Natchez.
Maybe I know Mid-South Shooter Supply and a couple other ones.
Yeah, so people are like, I don't have ammo. I was like, dude, I've probably bought 15,000 primers. It's not much, but during the craziness to get ammo made, so I'm fine.
Yeah, and yeah, reloading is a big time chunk, and
I don't have time for it. Yeah, so I shoot super well. Send my primers, let them load it. all today.
Well, and it's been really cool when I was listening to his episode with you. If depending on the issue, he'll swap his own primers out. Like he'll trade primers with that person and be like, "Oh, there we go. Get this guy some loaded ammo."
He's phenomenal. Their customer service phenomenal. So yeah, people haven't really like Supervel's a big name. They've been around for a while, but so many people still haven't heard of them. And people sometimes, again, I'll use the word scoff, but scoffs at reloaded ammo. Well, Supervel case gauges every single round that goes through their factory. So I think I've had one dead primer, and that's on me, right? That's my primer that I shipped them. That's not their problem. Everything else is ran perfectly.
Well, and that's really not even your problem. It came from the manufacturer that way. It's not like you poured water all over your primers and waterlogged them. But
one out of probably 40,000 that I bought, like I'm good.
Yeah,
So.
Absolutely. Now, here's a good question I have for you. What was something that current Kenzie would tell past Kenzie about shooting?
I actually didn't think I had an answer for this. Actually I do. It sounds silly, but buy the right gun sooner. That makes shooting fun. So 2011, like I hated pistol. I hated USP. I hated how bad I was. I loved shooting my Walther. It was a great gun, but again, polymer, lightweight, a lot of recoil. That 2011, I literally went out and I won second overall in this ladies invasion match, which was awesome to do. So I went out with 2011, brand new to me, and then boom, like got second place. Okay. And it's a lot of fun. So that gun made shooting fun again. I think that was one of my struggles, is like just not enjoying what I was shooting. And that's why even switching over to PCC, I should have done it sooner. And the other thing I would have told myself is maybe focus on one division or one gun and like really get go with it and all of that. Cause like you said, I love shooting everything, but I kind of fail at being good at any one thing. And I should have probably picked something. Yeah.
Well, and the nice thing about PCC is that it makes you better at rifle because you work on your transitions with PCC. It's just like a rifle, other than your optics a little different. You're shooting 9mm instead of 5.56, 2.23, and
my length is the same. So I did the same barrel size, the same handguard, same trigger. So again, yeah, I'm practicing. And that was even with the NRL 22 thing, that was something I practiced to get really good. And I ended up at Great Lakes 3-gun shooting and making the 630-yard shot on the competition. Like, okay, it's something right.
Right. If everything else went wrong, at least I made that shot, right?
Cool. Yep.
Yeah, and there's a lot. I think there's a lot that people can get from that, and I would say it's like make shooting fun again, and it doesn't have to. It's work. I'm gonna say trying to be good at competitive shooting or defensive-minded shooting is work, but you got to make it fun every once in a while.
Yeah, I started to have like you've seen, like burnout, right, and getting frustrated. And again, firearms not running, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna shoot PCC. And then I shot it and won the Steel Challenge, and then I shot it and won High Lady, and I shot it and won third. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stick to PCC because it's fun. And then shooting that with 2-gun it didn't go right, but limited and at PCC, like that was kind of fun. 2-gun was fun.
Yeah, it seemed like that. From the people I've talked to, it seems like that match was pretty good. Like they liked the concept of the 2 guns, the pistol and the PCC. I know some people would have much rather had a rifle, but
yeah,
is what it is.
Our staff got screwed, as you know, I'm sure. It was like a 3-day match for everybody else, and it was, or 2-day, I don't remember. And then we had to shoot everything in one day, and it was not possible.
No, it would have been. It could have been better if it was even a day and a half of shooting.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and you got slowed down by rain. Was that for the competitors or the staff that got slowed down by rain?
It rained the day before, but like for staff, it was 6 of us or 7 of us trying to shoot, and with real competitors, so we're trying to RO, but our squad just kept getting backed up on bigger stages, 12 stages in one day, and you couldn't start early at CMP. They have that 9 a.m. start time required. So I think we got it out of there at like 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night, and it did not go well because at the end of it, there's 3 stages that I literally shot because they had to pull in the entire staff. So Mike Foley, Troy, Rick, God, there were so many people, like 5 USPSA staff members ended up having to pick up the timer and helping us reset just to get us to finish and get off the range.
Because there's the range shuts down at a certain time.
No, it was just that's how far back staff was. So again, staff should not have shot 2-gun in one day. That was the impossible factor.
Because there was 14 stages?
12.
12.
Yeah, so they know next year, if they've already learned, we need a 2-day match at least, because running that many stages, that many people, and it's slow. It's multi-gun. You're gonna have a huge reset. They want people to go all the way down there and spray paint steel, impossible.
Yeah. And it's not like you can just leave spray paint down there, because if it's down range, it will be shot.
Yeah, I've seen that happen. It did happen on my stage, and then I had to give a reshoot. Yep.
It's always fun when the spray can goes flying. It goes whiz.
So it happened. Well, sorry, it happened to Keith Garcia, and so I was like, "Oh God!" And then of course, yeah, he asked for the reshoot. It was distracting because exactly went and exploded, and I was like, "Oh God!" Yep, not good.
Yeah, that'd be like, what the hell? When I shot my first spray can, I never noticed it until everyone was laughing their ass off when I was done. I'm like, what? You hit the can? Oh, okay. I mean, it had a barrel strike, so it scooted off the barrel, and then someone left the spray paint out, and it EFT law, rule of EFT, every fucking time it'll
Yeah.
hit the can. I took that can home as my participation trophy, and that was at my first USPSA match.
I've done that before. Like I had a clay that I shot the perfect center out, or I shot something I shouldn't have. Yeah, and you take it home.
You take it home.
Oh, that's funny.
Now, who, I know you said Scott got you, like, really helped get you started and whatnot. Who are some of your biggest mentors in this sport, not including like your sponsors?
Yeah, no, Scott was huge. So Scott Newnham, he shoots for Double Star as well. But I didn't know the Double Star guys till I met him. So he was actually the person that helped me build my first rifle. And he taught me everything on 3-gun when it comes to like reloading and gear setup and what optics buy. I mean, like I knew nothing. I still know nothing, I feel like. And then the rest of it has just been like friends. I mean, I don't really have a coach. There's a lot of people that do get coaching right in the sport, and I really don't. And like where I lived in Florida was not a hotbed for shooting sports at all, especially multi-gun. So like even moving up here, like having my friend Steve, my friend Rob, like all of them helped me with gun stuff or knowing what to look for, I guess, in different firearms has been huge. Like what triggers to buy, I don't know. I still don't know anything. But I feel like, yeah, I haven't had a ton of mentors. I feel like I might be forgetting someone, but yeah.
That's pretty cool. I would say, I think the sport definitely, it's kind of like in business and social media, you need mentors. You need someone who you can talk to and bounce ideas off of and learn from their past experiences and mistakes. So then you don't have to necessarily struggle down that road of, stalemating or getting that burnout because of not knowing what you don't know, right?
Yeah. And again, I think Scott helped me huge with that, like teaching holds, teaching how to zero. I mean, like I didn't know any of that stuff. So that was pretty cool. And just taking those classes, and you're paying for it, but that was helpful. But get a coach, get a mentor. That's kind of what I'm trying to be, but for beginners, again, not for competitive level shooting, because it's just so hard to get into and keep going. Yeah.
Right. I agree. I mean, if I had a plan, I would be hopefully in the next couple of years making time to teach basic level, even basic level competition. I mean, here are the safety rules. We're going to go over these. We're going to follow these gospels. What you're can and can't do at a match, and have them like pretty much like I have a mock. I would love to be able to rent a couple bays at a range, and we're going to have 2 or 3 stages. We're going to go through these like a match, but we're not going to ridicule you for breaking the 180. We're going to stop you and explain to you, but and then make them all learning moments. Because I think I myself, that could be something I could do, because you and I, we're right. We're not the best shooters, and we're not top level. We can't teach JJ Rakaza how to drop step any better, or how to have better muscles, or how to make fried rice. And
yeah, none of that. So no, yeah.
I forget to mention, you do have a podcast. You want to explain your podcast a little bit? And
yeah, so probably like you, maybe I don't know why you started yours. You should share after this. So Reticle Up podcast is what I do now. And I remember for like 6 months I was talking about starting a podcast. There are so many people out there that are like, I want to shoot competitively, I want to write a book, I want to start a podcast, whatever it is. They don't start. That's their biggest struggle, right? So I waited. I was actually waiting on a friend to be a co-host with me, and she just never kind of got back to it, wasn't really interested. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do it myself. And it's definitely hard solo podcasting, so I respect you for that. That's, it's all on your shoulders. So I started it because I wanted it to be all about learning and education. So I've had more shooters, of course, than anything else. I'm trying to get some archers on. They're killing me with their time that is not available. And I had entrepreneurs on. So I've had, like the president of Superbell, and I've had Run Gun Industries on there. And I've had Notch come talk to me with Paul, who's one of my sponsors, Double Star Shoot. Like you're learning about knives and martial arts and defense and safety. Like there's so much on my podcast that I try to teach people, right? I'd rather just have it in a podcast where they can go listen to the experts or the people that have been doing it for so long. So I love it. I'm enjoying it. I got an NRL 22 guy coming on. For the coordinator for that whole program. His episode comes out tomorrow. So like I had a guy on PRS. Like I'm learning more. So I want to say it's for the people, right? But it's also for me. Like I'm learning a bunch about people, about sports that I want to try. Like it's just been amazing. It's investment almost into myself by doing that.
Right. And I'll agree. We love sharing the knowledge that we're getting from these people, but it's also one of those kind of selfish reasons why we do it, because we get it first and we absorb it. But I'll tell you why I started a podcast was really the fact that I love to communicate and I love to talk to people. And this is my way of talking to people, and people maybe that I don't have access to locally or experience wise. And it doesn't hurt to ask, because the worst they can tell you is no.
Yes.
And I've always been told, it's like, because I asked Jay Beal, like, Jay, do you think I should ask to have this person on? I was like, it wouldn't hurt to ask. They can tell you no.
Or don't.
Yeah. Right. That's another way. Luckily, no one has told me no. Everyone's willing to talk to me, but I also tell them it's like I've got my questions. I've got listener submitted questions sometimes, and it's just the fact that it's a laid back conversation we have, and that's the cool part about it is that people are they'll come on. Like I had Jake Martins on the podcast, and I was very upfront with them. Like, this is what it's going to be. We're not going to talk about this. We're not going to talk about this because I don't really care right now about that. And that's not what you need to talk about. We
Yeah.
And it was always cool. And I love the connections I've made with people through this. Like I've made some of my best friends through competition shooting and the podcast and social media. So like, I can't be happy enough that, that's what I've gotten out of this, which is awesome for me.
Yeah. On a political side and non-political, but political side seriously is our content gets suppressed. We already know that on different platforms and podcasts, it's probably the same. But the more people out there that are reading, listening, and engaging in this type of content, it helps the whole industry grow. So like, even if people are subscribing or sharing or whatever, every little bit that someone does, it really does help generations to come, because I think we're losing our rights faster than we think we know. Like I know we're in a step positive sometimes, but who knows?
Yeah. And I would even say, like, it's so nice when you go to a match or you go to a range and you're like, hey, it's a Manny thing. Yeah. Like they talk about, it's like, he's got that podcast. And then you sit there and chat with them. And I wish I could give people a little more time. Like at the Michigan sectional, there's a guy he's like, I'll look out for you. I'm wearing my jersey. I'm not shooting, but I'm wearing my jersey, because it's so much easier to find people that way. Yeah. And I wish I could have gave him a little bit more time of my day, but it was like, I had to get going. It was time to go. It was an hour drive home.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I said, I love meeting people at the range. It's so fun. And
yeah, lifelong connections. Our community is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. It is. Now, this is before we get near to the end of the show. Is there something that that people can either start doing or stop doing to get better at whatever? If it's social media, shooting, being a better person, whatever. Just can't bitch about your neighbors, because
your neighbors that mow their lawn at 10 o'clock at night on a weekday. There's so much you can do to get better. So that, if you don't have a coach or a mentor, you're gonna have to pay for it. Well, what's the value for you? So I hear so many, no matter what it is in life, if you're saying I don't have the time, I don't have the money, it's because the priorities aren't there. And that's okay. If you've got a wife, kids, whatever, those should be your number one priorities. But if you're going out drinking, if you're eating out a lot, if you're doing all this other stuff and you're not putting the time and effort in, you can't expect to get the results out that you want. So if you want to pursue shooting or whatever it is, make it a priority. Just getting better is dry firing too. Like a lot of people hate doing that. That's actually how I've moved up some of my better shooting. I don't know how, but leveled up by dry fire, taking classes. On social media, find the people that are doing what they're saying they're doing or want to do, right? So these instructors out there, guys, I have been to a lot of like concealed carry instructors. Like I'll talk to them and they're like, oh yeah, I shoot a lot every year. What's a lot? 1,000 rounds. Okay. I'm at like 40 to 50,000 a year of ammo. Like, so what's a lot, right? Figure out who you're getting better with. That's a big thing, because if you're taking the wrong classes, or you're going, like, don't take the wrong classes, I guess. Don't skip out on your education, and don't follow the wrong people. So going back to that, find the people that are doing what they say they're going to do, like Joe Farwell's, gosh, Mike Stoker posts a lot, like what drills are they running, how they shoot, watch their videos. I think I can learn a lot from footwork. Like even Joel Turner, after teaching him, I literally went back and saw his footwork on everything that he taught us when shooting a rifle. There's so much. Read. I'm a big reader. So like with Winning in Mind was a really good one to read. Ben Stoker has a lot of books. I got one actually need to read from him next, but there's a lot out there content wise. Just make sure you're absorbing the right stuff.
I would definitely agree. I don't know how Mike Stoker has enough time in a day. Like running Super Val, always at the range shooting. He's like do you sleep? Like he exercises, he CrossFits. It's
wife, kids, dogs. Yeah.
Yep,
she goes hunting. Yeah, it's impressive.
I'm like, is there two of you? Because I mean, I would like the robot that just pops up at home and watches the kids and taking care of them.
And one other thing too, I try to teach this a lot. So I see a lot of people practice and they get excited about practice, and then they just get tired, they get hungry, and they just keep going. Well, the worse you keep going, you're putting in bad habits because you're getting sloppy with it. So if you're being intentional, make sure that you're putting the time and the effort and doing it correctly. You're not just going through the motions, and you're not getting lackadaisical on it. So if you're doing the wrong things, you're literally training your brain to do bad habits. That's like a big thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's like, if you're not getting any value out of it, just stop, pack up, go home, go find something else, go do something, be more productive with your day instead of wasting your ammo and your time and being frustrated at the range.
Yeah.
If it's going wrong, it's like, you're just going to get more upset with yourself. I agree with that.
Yeah. And then the last thing too is like practice what you don't want to practice. Offhand rifle. I hate it when I need to be practicing.
Yeah. Everyone likes to do what they like to do instead of, or what they're good at. That was proven to me at the match this weekend that I shot, and it was, we got stuff we got to work on. It was all a good learning experience, and the best part is when you can have a good squad.
Oh yeah, and I don't know what the yardage was on stage 10 for Georgia State, but I'd been practicing offhand rifle and just making intentional good shots. There was 2 targets in the very back. Well, I took one from the very start, fault line or whatever. I don't know if it was 30 or 40 yards. I'm probably exaggerating. Couldn't tell you, but it was a long shot. Well, that was 2 alpha. And then when I moved up and I shot the other one from the back from a different window than normal, that was Alpha Charlie. So you win some, you lose some, but that practice of offhand rifle and really being intentional about making those long shots, they paid off. So a lot of people did not have points on that stage. That was my best one.
There you go.
The one I was dreading.
Right?
Why, Kenzie?
Why? But hey, it worked out for you, right?
It did. And that was the only one with gravel the size of, again, like boulders on that stage. I knew I was going to fall. I was like, I'm going to fall. It doesn't matter. I'm going to fall. And I didn't.
This is when you wear knee pads.
Yeah. So I'm going to get hockey gear, like in a non-exaggeration way. I think it'd be really funny to show up to a match. And it might work. It might help with elbow pads and knee pads, maybe even a helmet, and I'll shoot stages that way.
There you go.
Can you imagine that in USPSA magazine too?
Safety first, right? Well, don't forget, you got to wear a plate carrier too.
Oh, there was that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the guy. Sorry, I called him out. That was the guy that got in my buddy's way. It's like, well, at least you had a plate carrier on.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a plate carrier. Yeah. I thought that was funny though. I saw that picture of that guy. I was like, yep. Because I think Tyler Turner, he's a production GM down there, took a picture of him, and it was pretty funny. So
yeah, Tyler I shot with at Area 5. He watched me fall and then keep shooting.
There you go. Now, Kenzie, it's part of the show where we kind of pay back to your sponsors and whatnot, and give them a little plug here. So go ahead and share with the world who sponsors you, who supports you.
Yeah, absolutely. Goodness. So Hunters HG Gold, I've been working with them for years. Brian does a lot for the sport, as most of you know. So he makes the best custom glasses for me. I couldn't do it without rubies, and I couldn't do it without golds. Dude, Notch Gear. So Notch has been with me since the very beginning, first sponsor I ever had. And I know you listen to the podcast, but Paul with his company, when you buy a hat from him, he's actually donating to like real food to somebody that really needs it, like a child overseas. I mean, like on starvation, on going to die. And it's just this like nutritional pack of food. You should learn more about that program. So, and then Timber Creek. So Timber Creek was also one of my first ones. I met Garrett Grover at a match, the one I DQ'd at 3-Gun Nationals. I like just spit it out. I was like, I love Timber Creek. Like I did. There's so many pretty colors. So ended up sponsoring me later because I have all my posts and social media, and I adore them. Double Star has done more for me than I can tell you. They paid for my armor class for AR-15. So they're the reason I actually know how to take things apart and put them back together. If you gift me education like that, that's lifelong education that pays off in ways that they'll never know. So huge thank you to them for doing all of that. And then Invictus Practical, man, they make the best shotgun caddies. Kind of the same thing happened. I was tagging them and posting all the time. And then I reached out and they're like, yeah, we see your content. We want to sponsor you. You know, you tag us and everything. I was like, yeah, the social media whore. That was cool. And Ballistic Advantage, man, they make the best barrels out there. So I've been working with some amazing companies. Couldn't do it without them. So
yeah. And I think it's awesome when you have companies like that who back you and support you. And it's definitely a help. It makes it a little bit easier, makes everything a little bit easier when you can get some support like that.
Yeah. And one thing, you know, when we see people like find the right influencers out there, there are people that like wanted to be sponsored before ever using the product, right? So they're paid to promote something.
Mm-hmm.
These companies were companies that I love their gear, love their whatever for years. And then when I reached out to them or they reached out to me, you know, I was like, I'm already using your product. You don't have to pay me, but they wanted to, or, you know, give me free stuff. It's like, well, you don't have to do that because I'm going to buy it anyways. But like working with the companies that you want to work with is really important to me. Mm-hmm. And what I actually use. I'm not going to use something that doesn't save my life or that I don't enjoy using.
Agreed. Like it's, you know, you see some people who keep flip-flopping day to day. Oh, I'm supporting this guy now. No, I'm switching to this guy now. It's like,
yeah, those aren't the people, guys.
Yeah.
Those are the people.
They're the ones getting paid to talk to you about it. And I mean, I guess I would say for the people who are looking for sponsorships, don't ask for a sponsorship unless you already run their gear, and don't expect them to sponsor you if you don't run their gear. Like, it's like they just know that you're out for a free buck, or, you know, it's like, that's not the relationship you want. So
Yep. Oh, and Supervel, I don't know if they're sponsor or not, but affiliate. Supervel has done a lot for me. Run Gun too. This next year, I'm going to be putting all those logos on my back because I love those companies. So, you know, Supervel gives me a discount code for 3-Gun Kenzie for ammo in a crisis of ammo. So they're still offering a discount. They're not upping at prices. You know, Run Gun makes some of the best bags ever. So my importance, I guess where my loyalties lie is also with entrepreneurs. So if people are doing magical things and creating something, I want to support those people. I want to help those people grow because the small businesses of America is what's really important to me. And all of these they're entrepreneurs, they're small businesses. They started small, they grew big. Like I can't talk enough about them.
Well, yes. The match I shot yesterday, Supervel sponsored. Everyone got some of the grab bags had a box of 9mm in it.
Yes, that's awesome.
And I can't go to a match without a running gun bag because I'm not carrying those little boxes of ammo or an ammo crate.
I had one somewhere on the floor earlier.
You have a blue one behind you.
I have a blue one behind me. Oh, this one. So yeah, the retro is super cool. And I put this is crazy. My Double Star patch looks like it belongs on the bag.
Oh, there you go.
Right? It's perfect. So yeah.
That is pretty awesome. Now, Kenzie, we're gonna wrap the show up, but where can the listeners find you?
Online. So 3gunkenzie.com, 3gun Kenzie on Facebook and on Instagram. I also have Reticle Up there. That's where my podcast. So Reticle Up podcast on YouTube, at Reticle Up on Facebook and Instagram, Kenzie Fitzpatrick everywhere else. Working on some new things, so you might see some stuff coming out. So yeah.
I saw you made another new Instagram.
Yeah, so I'm working on a project. So obviously, again, we're suppressed on the internet in this industry. So I've named it Tomboy Adventurer, which kind of fits me. So I'm going to write a blog. I'm going to work on more content, and it's going to be outside of shooting a little bit, like my hiking, my fishing, my hunting. Hopefully hunting doesn't ruin it, and my truck travels. So look for that coming soon. But I want to have contributors that are a little bit different, like, again, more females that are doing stuff that's normally done by men, I guess. That's not a thing anymore, but it still is a thing, I guess. Hard to explain.
And I would say definitely someone to reach out for that is Lena.
Yeah.
Living in her truck and driving around with her dog. And
Yeah, it was funny. Ashley, I was parked next to me or whatever. I got out of the truck. She's like, "I like your truck. My friend's building one." I was like, "Talking about Lena's because hers is a cool build."
Yes.
Like, yeah, that's the one. I was like, I figured.
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Kenzie. It's been a blast, and I know we'll have more chit chat time later. And I appreciate you coming on. And I want to tell the listeners, thank you guys for watching again. Till next time, get out and do the things.